What's the most evil thing anyone has ever done to you? Well, I was working in a hotel and this guy comes up to me while I'm checking him in. He's like, "Do you work here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I work here." And he's like, "Do you know who I am?" And I'm like, "No, who are you?" And he's like, "I'm the manager." And then he goes back to his room. So I'm telling all my coworkers, this guy threatened me. He said I was going to be fired. And they're all, "You were not fired, were you?" And I was like, "No, I wasn't fired." But I was definitely demoted in my position because that same manager, a week after he checked in, came up behind me while I was sitting at the front desk, put his hand on my shoulder, said, "Let's go for a walk," turned off the lights, locked the front door, and took me to an Avanged and withdrew $300 and gave it to me and said, "Don't tell anybody about this, but here's some spending money." And then he drove me to my car and he was just staring at me the entire time and I was freaking out. And then the next day I get called into HR and they're like, "We need to let you go." And I was like, "What did I do?" And they're like, "You had a relationship with the manager and you stole from the company." And I was like, "What are you talking about? I didn't steal anything." And they're like, "Well, the manager withdrew $300 from his own personal account and gave it to you." And I was like, "That's not stealing. That's a gift." And they're like, "Well, we don't allow our employees to have relationships with our managers or, accept gifts above a certain value." And I was like, "But he gave it to me willingly. I didn't ask for it." And then they fired me. So I go to the manager's room and I'm pounding on the door like a lunatic. And finally he opens the door and he's like, "What did I do?" And I'm like, "Why did you give me $300 and then set me up to get fired?" And he starts crying and he's like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for you to get fired. I just wanted to give you a gift because I really liked you." And I was like, "Well, you should have just given me a gift then because now I am out of a job and you didn't even give me a proper explanation as to why you gave me that money and why you set me up to get fired." And he started crying and he just walked away.